How are you doing?
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I can see Charlton in the house. Hello, Charlton. Unmute and say hi.
Howdy, how are you doing? Good
Very well,
afternoon.
thank you. Very well, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are you calling us from, Charlton?
Cape Town.
Lovely. Cape Town's in the house. Oh, you got a cool jacket there.
Well.
It looks red, black, white. Yeah, Rastafarian look, huh?
Yeah, it's my national flag.
That's lovely. Where are you from? Where's the national flag from? Zim. Great. Okay, yeah. So let's start with today's lesson. This week, the assignment 2 was due, 31st of May. Charlton, have you submitted on time? Please tell me yes.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Great. All right. So for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to review the assignment questions, and I'm going to check what it is that the lecturer wanted to assess you on, all right? So. Okay. So that's and I'm also going to point out to you in terms of the exam questions how and what and where it applies, right? Yeah. So let me share my screen. I'm going to share my screen with you, and let's open up Adobe. Right? Let's open up Adobe. So if you notice, in the first question, they spoke about the while loop, Charlton, and ma'am wants you to complete the heading for the while loop. Now, if I take cost 1511 2022 paper, you'll notice there's a question on the while loop. Question 1.3. Charlton, check it out.
Yeah.
Consider the following C++ code segment, and here's the while loop. Inside the while loop, something happens, and they would like you to give them the value of the segment of code. All right? Now, very often in the exam, Charlton, they won't give you the entire program, right? They'll give you a snippet of code. So Charlton, if you notice, last year's paper was 2 hours. They can't give you an entire program, and they got so much to cover, all right? So let's consider the objective of today's lesson, the while loop, the characteristics associated with the while loop, and hopefully for homework, you should be able to answer question 1.3 from October 2022 paper. What do you think about that, Charlton?
That sounds like a plan.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah. So let's look at what was expected of you in the assignment question, right? So question 1. In question 1, ma'am asked you to validate, input and validate the age of students. Now, I'm taking this question deliberately because you would have spent a whole lot of time on it, and you know exactly what was expected, and hopefully you'd have got the answer, right? So, they asked you to input the age, and they wanted you to determine whether the person was in a particular range. So what I did was I went back to number line and I said, hey, this is what would help you to visualize, Charlton, what we're talking about in terms of the while loop and having an interval of numbers. So if I'm considering people that are, let's say for my case now, I just want to make it simple, right? I want to do an example where I consider people to be a teenager, yes, no, right, Charlton? So let's see. Were you a teen or are you a teenager, Charlton?
No, I'm not. Unfortunately.
Okay. Great. Now don't let us know about your age, right, Charlton? Okay. Yeah. What are the characteristics, the age group? Where will the teenager fall? Teenager.
13 to 19.
Right. So we're going to have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, Charlton, right? Yeah. So we've got to translate that mathematical expression using the while loop, all right? So in order to do that, we need to determine what will be our input. Again, a couple of weeks ago or months ago, when I started the Zoom lessons, there's only 3 things that we're going to be doing: input, processing, and output, all right? But before I do that, let me quickly go over the while loop, right? The while loop. So there's my study guide. Some students ask me, do I need to buy a prescribed textbook? Listen, the study guide is quite intensive. It's quite well written, and you can suffice in terms of not dealing with another textbook or so, right? But if you want to use it as reference material, by all means, you can do so. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't have time to go through the entire guide, but I'm just going to take the important points from the while loop. So the while loop is in lesson 9, page 95. Let's go back. It's also in lesson 14, page 144. And right. So let's go to the while loop again. I'm not going to take everything. I'm just going to go to the important points, which is at the end of the chapter. Right. Let's go and find that while loop. Right. There we go. See, I should have done page count. Right, there we go. There we go. Page. You can read up all of that. And I did this example with some of the students a couple of weeks ago. Right.
Yeah.
So the important point about the while loop is that before you enter the while loop, Charlton, you need to know what is it that you want to test. All right. So I'm calling that a read ahead in my while loop. Also, the while loop has to have a test condition. So if I look at this one, yep, while price is not equal to 0.0. This is straight from your study guide. And inside the while loop, Charlton, check it out here. There's an open bracket and there's a closed bracket. They talk about changing the value of the condition that you are testing. So I've given you one characteristic. I'm not going to use the word condition. I'm going to use the word characteristic. Above the while loop, or before we enter the while loop, Charlton, I got to ensure that I have something to compare with. Then there's my comparison that takes place. And here's my changing of the loop. And I got to change it. If I don't change the value of the test condition, Charlton, you'll notice it'll go on and on and on and on and on. It becomes an infinite loop, right? And we don't want it to happen. All right, so that's the characteristics that you need to have gone through. See, they talk about the 3 characteristics. You test the value, you change the value, right? So let's look at the question that we have, right? So Charlton told me that according to his definition of a teenager is between 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I want to include all those values. And if you notice, the assignment question spoke about validating. Validating means that we want to ensure that we have the correct age group. Like I know, Charlton, you already told me you're not a teenager, right? So you're invalid to be a teenager. You're not a valid age group, right?
Yeah.
Charlton, right? So let's look at it. So I've written a little program here before we go to question 2. If I look at my program, here's my input. I've got lines 5, 6, and 7 input, and I have enter age. Right, so I've got the first characteristics of wanting to determine whether a person is a teenager or not. In my processing, Charlton, line 9, talk to me. Let's see if you can explain this to us, because like you said, you've done the assignment and you needed to have included a statement similar to what I have in order to answer the assignment. Talk to me, Charlton.
Okay. So the line 9, while age is less than or equal to 12, or age is greater than or equal to 20. Yeah. So pretty much we are testing to see if the age that has been inputted is if it's less than or equal to 12 or if it is greater than or equal to 20.
Okay. Yeah, but Charlton, you told me just now that the values are 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Why am I talking about 12 and 20?
Yeah.
Charlton?
Sorry, come again?
You told me when we started off this little discussion that teenagers are from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's how you get the word teenager, right? 13, 14, 15. But why in line number 9, I'm decided to compare less than 12 and greater than or equal to 20? And think about your own age, Charlton.
So it's more like so all the ages that are considered to be teenagers are, if I can say, put in a in a bracket. So 12, any value from 12 going down and from 20 going upwards, we'll consider them as kind of like, so to speak, outside the range that we want to search. So the range we are checking out is between 13 to 19, which is covered by any value that is from 12 going all the way to 0 to minus where it's going, and from 20 all the way up. So any age that is above, equal to or above 20 is and less than or equal to 12 is not a teenager. Hence, yeah. Okay, I don't want to go down then to line 11 and 12. I'll just focus on line.
So you got to actually think in the negative kind of way, Charlton. You got to think about student that's naughty and wants to test you to see whether you are a teenager or not, right? So let's run this program, right? I'm going to compile this program, and let's run it now, right? Now, Charlton, if you don't mind, would you share with us your age, Charlton? Charlton, you can take away a year or two, or add a year.
34.
All right, so Charlton is 24, right? Let's see whether
34.
Okay. 32. I'm making you a little bit younger, right, Charlton? Okay, so Charlton is 32.
Yeah.
Let's see whether the program determines whether he is a teenager or not, right? Now, you are introductory programmers. You are here to determine the output of your program. Before you run your program, you should have an idea after a couple of months of programming whether it will work or not, right? We have this inclination that Charlton is not a teenager. Charlton is not a teenager. So let's have a look at what happened in this program, Charlton. It went inside the loop. It determined that you are not in this range. And as correctly pointed out, Charlton is not a teenager.
Yes.
Right? So that's what we wanted. That's what we wanted, right? Because we want the person to continue, the program to continuously run until you have a teenager age from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right? That's what we wanted, right? So, any teenagers in the house over here or want to pretend to be a teenager?
Yeah.
Any pretending teenagers here? Anybody? Charlton? Okay, give me your niece's age or your pretend niece or...
I'm sure there is.
No, there's no teenagers over here.
My niece is 17.
Right, so let's see, 17. So this is what's going to happen now, right? So at line number 13, by the way, I'm also doing tracing of a program. When I say tracing, I am pretending to be the compiler to see what will happen. So when it goes to line 13, it says 17. This is Charlton's niece. And it looks at line number 9, it says, is Charlton's niece's age less than or equal to 12 or more than or equal to 20? And Charlton knows that. He knows his mathematics, right? He knows his mathematics. So it's going to come out of the loop and give me the message that follows the loop, which says, student qualifies to be a teenager. Yay, qualifies to be a teenager. Well, I should have used another word, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Right? So Charlton, your niece is definitely a teenager, right? You should be happy for that, right? Right. So there we go.
Awesome.
Right? Awesome. So student qualifies to be a teenager. Now, if this was a longer program, or if I had to have other functions in there, I could have continued. But whenever you're starting programming as introductory students, take it easy. Do it one step at a time, right? Do it one step at a time. Make sure that it is so. Now, Charlton, I'm going to complicate matters a little bit, right? This is an OR operation.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to now change this to be an AND operation. So, while age is less than or equal to 12 and age is more than or equal to 20, what do you think will happen, Charlton?
Well, age is less than or equal to 12.
And
age is greater than or equal to 20.
So think of the number line. So when you're sitting in the exam, in the exam venue, you must draw a quick number line. So we want to consider all values. It says less than or equal to 12 and more than or equal to 20. Charlton?
Okay, let's go back to code.
Let's go back to the code. Let's go back to the code. Now I want you to, just guess, because you must remember, you're in the exam, you're under exam stress, pressure, tension, all that goes with it. But you won't be, because you'll be calm and cool. It's only June. We got a couple of months more. By then you should be ready, right? Yes, Charlton, yes.
So the OR operator will be picking either value, and the AND would combine both results. So a true value would only come if both are true, and if one is not true, then the whole value would be false. So in this case,
let's run it, right?
Okay.
Let's run it. Let's run it, Charlton. Right?
Yeah.
Let's run it, right? Let's run it. Let's compile the program. Hey, no errors, great. And let's run the program, right? So let's run the program. Again, we're going to take the same test data. Now, why I'm showing you this, Charlton, is this is when you are studying for the exams or you've completed the assignment. Now, don't forget about C++ programming, right? You're going to play around with the program and see whether it works or not. So again, I'm going to put your age -2, right? So 32. Let's see what happens now, right? Charlton, are you a teenager?
No.
32. No. Right? Let's run the program again. What was your niece's age again, Charlton? You told me you have a niece?
17.
All right, so she's 17. Charlton, check it out, Charlton. So both the test cases were coming through, right? So now, why I'm pointing this out to you? This is the story with the or and the and, right? If you want to ensure that you qualify for values that are within the range of less than, here's my number line again, I need to use the or value so that I cater for all, so that I cater for what I want. What I want is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 to be values that are true and teenagers, and I don't want the others. So you are actually, it's like this, you must basically think in the negative, think in the opposite, think of the student that would enter in a value to test whether he is a teenager or not, right? Now that's what happened in the case for the marks. In assignment 2, question 1, they had you testing the age. This time it wasn't a teenager or not. They just wanted to know if you are younger than 30. And they wanted to check whether your final mark was more than 65%, right? So there was 2 conditions that you had to test. It's no longer simply one condition that you only had the age to determine whether you're a teenager or not. You also had to take into consideration the final mark. And that's where it got to be a little bit more complicated, Charlton, right? You must remember, in this assignment, they wanted to separate the men from the boys, the girls from the ladies, the big boys, the programmers, and not the programmers, right? And they gave you something more to think about. So here's my input again. Oh, by the way, in line number 5, Charlton, what's happening in line number 5? Quick revision.
Declaring and initializing our variables.
Yeah, I'm saving some space, right? I'm doing it together. Right? I could have done it separately, but now that you're an experienced programmer, you're mature enough to do two things at the same time. Charlton, what you say? Charlton, you can multitask and all of that, isn't that so? Yeah, right, great. So here's my C out, enter age, enter in final mark, and I'm fine with that. Now this is the complicated part. Remember I told you about the OR story?
Yes.
There's the OR story here. Let's run the program and see whether it does what it's supposed to do, right? So for you to be able to qualify for the exam, you must be less than 30, so 25 years old, and oops, it's still running the previous program. Let's just close that. I don't need that anymore. Close that project. compile this and run the program, right? So now I've got two values to compare. I've got 25. I always like to say it's start with the case that works, right? So 25, and the final mark for the exam is 70. So it's going to check the two, and then it's going to determine whether you qualify for the exam or not, right? So that's what took place out here. This is not the best solution. You get other solutions as well. And but what I would like you to try out is play around with these OR operations. Play around with the OR and the AND operations. And I just made it life a little bit more where I said greater than or equal to 0 so that nobody gets a negative mark, right? Let's run the program again. Let's run the program again. This time we try to see that the program is, so somebody is -1 years old. They're still in their mommy's womb. Their exam mark is 50. So you know that they don't qualify, right? Student does not qualify. Run it again, all right? So you say, hey, he is 34 years old. Somebody I know in the group. Charlton.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And your final exam was 70. That's fine, but you don't qualify because of your age. So yes. What was being tested in this question was a compound statement. We call that a compound statement, right? Where ma'am expected you. Let's look at this assignment question, right? So even though some of you may saw, hey, it's only out here, but because there was age and final mark, that will give you an idea that I got to include both of them because I got to determine age and I've got to determine final mark. So that becomes a kind of complicated compound statement. And the operations that I'm talking about here, the OR operation and the AND operation. Now, if you want to think about your high school mathematics, I always consider the light bulbs in series, where if the two light bulbs are series, both need to be connected so that the light will come on, right? The switches, right? So that's what you must keep in mind if you are having an issue about the Boolean operation. Okay, so Charlton, look at my time, it's about 24 minutes, 25 minutes. I just want to do one concept, the while operation, the while loop, the validation, and question 1.1a, right? And then I want to take you through to what would be expected of in October 2022. Do you have any questions for me, Charlton? Or anybody else in the group?
I have a question, sir.
Yes,
You've now talked to us about the and the OR operators, but in this particular question for this assignment, would there have been a preference for and or?
Like I said, this is not the best solution. There are other solutions out there, right? It depends on how you see. I considered the values of 0, less than 0, and but you have to use Boolean functions. That I can tell you, Boolean variable, Boolean operations. Let's put it to you that way, right? For you to be able to determine the answer. Don't feel bad if it doesn't look similar to what I have. So long as you have the output, you have generated test case to say that this is what it is and it works, right? I just did this this morning. Well, I did it a couple of weeks ago, but I just went over it again to go through this with you. All right. So don't panic. But the important thing is that you are learning. You are learning for, now we're considering exam or learning for the exam, what was tested out here and what they expect you in the exam. Hopefully in the exam, they won't have it as complicated a compound statement where you have two variables to compare, like what happened out here. Look at this exam question, Marianne. In this exam question, they simply said, while count is less than number P, do something in there and give me the value of, well, there's the word value in there, give me the variable, whatever was associated in there, right? It's a simple one. But if you do not understand the concepts or characteristics associated with the while loop, you will not get 2 marks. Marianne?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still, you were breaking up a little bit there, sir.
Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead with your question again, Marianne. Let's see if you... Marianne?
No. So I said you were breaking up a little bit there when you were talking about the exam question.
Yeah. That right now I'm in assignment mode, exam mode, because at the back of my mind, I know that I've got to ensure that you are prepared for the exam, right? And in the exam, the while loop must come out. That I can tell you. I can take a bet with you, right, Marianne and Charlton? My bet is if the while loop does not appear in October 2023, I will refund you your complete cost 1511 fees, whatever you paid for it.
We'll hold you up to that.
That's a rather open-ended bet.
You think I want to waste money and pay all your fees there, Charlton? I'm not a gambling man. I don't take a bet I can't win. So I know I'm going to win.
Okay. Well,
right. While we're at it, let's do a quick revision. Can you see the top of question 1.2? I spoke about this in our quiz. Remember our quizzes that I have in the switch statement? I'm sure you'd be able to answer this. Yeah, right. The switch statement. Charlton, are you now group 1E?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so I had the quiz there. There's the quiz. Let's go look at the quiz. Where's my quiz? My quiz on the switch statement. There's it. October 2021 switch break case, right? It also came out in 2021, 2022. I think it's a good chance of it coming out in 2023. What do you say, Charlton? It's a good probability. But yeah, I don't know whether to take a bet or not.
Never know. It might be a curveball.
Yeah, right. Okay, so it's 12:30. I just want to go over again what I'm talking about. Today's Zoom lesson was just one concept, the while loop. Just one concept. What are the characteristics associated with the while loop? I took you all through to the assignment question, which you guys have done already, so you know what I'm talking about. And I'll just explain to you the little complicated issue of it having a compounded Boolean operation so that I was able to generate an answer, right? And I showed you that it appeared in October 2022. You have this paper, Charlton, yes or no? Charlton,
which one is this?
October 2022.
2020.
Or do you have October 2023?
I'll have to double check which one I have on my files here.
Okay, Marianne, do you have October 2023 or October 2022?
We haven't had October 2023 yet.
That was a catch. Yes. As yet, right? It's coming.
Oh, snap.
Charlton, where are you, Charlton? That was my lame excuse for the joke. I'm glad you got it, though. Now you got the joke. Okay. Right. So,
you got me.
I'm glad I did. Right. So today, go and try and work this out here. 1.3. Right. Marianne, will you do that, please, as well? So that, one, you don't forget about the while loop and you are preparing for the exam. I know you may think, oh, listen, we're only in June. The exam is in October. Think about it. You got June, July, August, September, October. You got 5 months. But you also have cost 1512. Some of you are doing INF. Some of you are doing maths modules. Some of you are doing work 101, family 102. So if you do a little bit every week, you would be able to cover the syllabus. Plus, you got assignment 3 coming up in August, and I haven't seen that as yet on the group. So, right, and if you want to check your work, simply copy this into code blocks. Right? Create a program for it and run and see whether you got the answer that you expected in terms of working it out without the compiler. All right, so copy that, put it into code blocks and run it. Right. So I'm going to say Control C. I showed you how to do that. Open up code blocks. Open up a new project. That, and you become your own examiner, and you become independent of me. I don't mind if you're independent of me, right? So OCT October 2022 Q, what was it? Q while question, right? So you start it off and you say, listen here, I've done the work, and I say, hey, I don't know how it's working, but let me go and put it out there and run it, right? So there's the program. It's got a function. It's got a function in there. Find value int p while count is less than p. And run. I don't need the hello world. I need to find value. Call up find value and run the program. Right. I think that's where I shall end. Maybe next week I'll do the October 2022 answer to this, and I hope Charlton you'll be there, and Marianne as well. And yeah, this is how I keep my students coming back, Charlton. You see, I don't give them everything at one go. So now they know for the next 4 weeks I'll be covering 1A, 1B. Next week we'll talk about the for loop. The for loop has certain characteristics associated with it. By the way, this is, ma'am admitted, there's a typo there. And we'll do question 1C. There's a for loop. Again, we'll talk about what was expected and we are actually doing a dissection of the assignment question. And we'll talk about here. Yeah, there we go. There's another one. Look at this. Look at this. What was happening out here? We'll talk about, there's my famous switch statement. My switch statement is there. You'll notice there's no breaks in there. They didn't give you a break, man, with the switch statement. And we'll talk about the rooms again. And we have a little more clarity in terms of the discount and whether it was tax, non-taxable. We'll talk about that. We'll play around with the question. We'll see how it goes. And, there's this experiment one. And hopefully by then we'll also have the solutions from the examiners, and we'll see what they expected of us. And maybe you'll probably have your marks as well, right? Within a month's time. Marianne, do you have a question? I beg your pardon, Marianne?
Sorry. I did have a question, but I think you've actually just answered it. What I was going to ask was, when do you think?
Aren't I good? Aren't I good? Sorry, I have to praise myself here, Marianne. Aren't I good? Before your question was asked, I answered it.
Very good.
Thank you.
I just hope you're right.
Okay, go ahead. What was your question?
No, my question was actually, how long do you think it'll be before they mark the assignments? Because my uncle actually did a BCom through UNISA, and he says, well, they only actually mark the assignments like right before the exam. And I was like, oh, no, that's so long to wait.
No. You guys put pressure on the staff, UNISA staff. They should not be doing that. Because you see, you need to know where you are, either right or wrong in feedback, and you need to get that done, right? So, yeah, please. Hopefully, say the next 6 to 8 weeks. You must also remember, Marianne, there's 1,800 of you, and I don't know how many markers there are. But be that as it may, I'm here to assist you. So we're not going to wait for them. We're going to start looking at the question and see how it is. And they can't fault us if we are giving them output from the compiler, and this is what is expected, right? Okay.
Yeah. Do you actually have marking the assignments, sir?
What do you mean? Do we have marking assignments?
Well, you say the markers, so I'm assuming that the lecturers and the e-tutors do not actually mark the assignments.
No, I don't mark. No. I don't mark. I used to mark a couple of years ago. They used to give me marking, and everything was automated. You do it on the computer, JRouter, it goes to the moderator, it goes to the... But no, I do not mark. I do not mark. So I'm glad I don't mark it. So now you can't blame me for anything going wrong. Okay? Right. And I'm not sure. So,
yeah, but
okay. I'm here to assist you, Marianne.
Because I know that I have a friend who says,
I beg your pardon, Marianne, you're breaking up?
Sorry. Okay, no, you said something and I was starting to say something, so like, okay, I'm talking over you, so I put on the brakes immediately to try and hear what you were saying, but then I think you stopped to hear me as well.
Yes. Okay, go on. That's why in when they have two-way radios, they say, Marianne, do you read me, Marianne? Over. Marianne, over.
Yeah, well, they don't actually do that, but anyways, they use the phonetic alphabet, because the thing is quite... Oh gosh, I'm giving myself away here a little bit, aren't I? Let me shut up and get back to my question.
No. Go ahead.
I have a friend. Yeah. So I have a friend who's at UWC. She's studying pharmacy, and she says often they just draft in the third-year students to mark and so on. So I was wondering what UNISA's policy was, because I mean, they don't actually have physical third-year students that are there that you can say, hey, have a stack of exam papers or assignments.
Yes. I hear you. At the University of Technology that I teach at, we also employ or use the postgraduate students to assist as tutors. But I'll be honest with you, because this is a recording as well, I don't want to open myself to criticism. Let's just leave it as me being ignorant of the policies associated with marking. How's that, Marianne, for a diplomatic answer?
Yeah, okay. It means I can tell my mom that I've confounded you as well this week.
Yeah. You always keep me on my toes. Thank you. All right. Anybody with a particular question regarding this operation about the while and the assignment question and the past year October paper that I'd like you to do? So next week when we start, I'll start with the October 22 while loop question, and I'll go into the for loop, and we'll compare the while versus the for loop and how you can even mimic the while with the for loop. That appeared in a past year paper as well, where you are able to take what happened in the while loop and convert it into a for loop or vice versa, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, a question, anybody? Anyone with a question for me? Question, talk to me. Yes.
Can we go through question 5 of this assignment 2?
All right. That should be in the next 5 or 6 weeks that I'll go through that, right? Let's go through the systematically, if you don't mind, because we got to wait for the marks as well, and we got to check what ma'am was testing on that. Hopefully in the next, say, 5 to 6 weeks, we should have a clearer indication, because there were some, I'll put it to you diplomatically, there were some issues with that question. All right.
Okay, no problem, sir.
Okay, and I'm also keeping you, coming back for more. I want you. That's a forthcoming attraction. So I know next week you'll be here to see what happens in 1B with the for loop and the while loop, and the following week you'll come to see what happens in the next question, and then hopefully you'll watch my videos as well. All right. Hello. Hi. Yeah. Does that answer your question? I'm not gonna. I will answer it, but just not right now. Right? I want you all to go slowly now. The strategy that we used was, listen here, there was an assignment due date 8th of May. We needed to do it. We couldn't manage it. It moved to 31st of May. And all right. Does that help you? Will you see me in 5 to 6 weeks time? I promise you I'll do that. Unless you Zeta, Bota, and oops, I'm still recording. I better keep it there. Yeah, go ahead. Anybody else with a question? Yes, question, query. It's 12:40. Charlton, how's it going, Charlton?
So far so good. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm good for now.
Okay. So what's going to be your homework, Charlton?
Question 1.3 in the October.
Yeah. I got February as well if you want. February's paper, February of 2023. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll do that. Abdul, Dennis, Taban, Olga, Michelle, anybody, say hello. Hi.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Who am I? Put your camera on. Let's say hi. Are you if your camera ready? I'll put mine off.
I'm not camera ready today.
Okay.
I look horrible.
No, don't say that. Don't ever say that. How can I help, Abdul?
No, honestly speaking, at this stage, can we also go into functions a bit, sir?
Yes.
In terms of our parameters, because I still have a few problems, I have problems when it comes to our parameters and all that.
Yes, I can do that as well. So how I structure the Zoom lesson, Abdul, is that you'll notice in the question, let me just share the screen again, let's share it, and let's look at the way the assignment question was. Ma'am wrote the assignment question. So if I look at assignment question, the question on functions, that came out in, I think it was the one about twice, where they spoke about.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. So there's a function here, print heading with no parameters, right? I could do that for you right now if you want, but again, I'll be jumping the gun, and I want to keep you interested. I want you to come back, right? And there's another function about print heading and calculate pay as well, right? And there was a function about integer, the powers. In fact, I did discuss this a couple of weeks ago, right, Abdul? But when I come to that, I will go over the characteristics associated with functions, like actual parameters, formal parameters, local variables, global variables. Now I'm just whetting your appetite. I don't want to do too much for today's lesson. I just want you to cover the concepts involved in question 1A. All right, Abdul, we've got some time. It's June. It's just the first week of June. The paper is generally written in October, and we will cover that, right? And the next assignment is around about August. So we've got July, August, September, right? So if I look at my timeline, I'm by the end of June, I should cover all the concepts associated with assignment 2, and you would have consolidated your knowledge so that you can tackle assignment 3. And by August, September, you should be into exam mode for this module, apart from the other modules as well. So that's how you should work. Okay, Abdul? And if you also want to watch my other videos, Fun with Functions. You remember I had a video, Fun with Functions?
I'll have to go through that.
Yeah. There's a go to my let me go to Fun with Functions, right? Go and look at it. If you can't wait, if you are really impatient and you can't wait, Abdul, you go to my YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel and look for my channel. So you go to the playlist. There we go, playlist out there, and you go to lots of videos, man. There we go, cost 1511, group 1E. Oh, not that one there. Just go to the playlist. All right. And there we go, Fun with Functions. Right, Abdul? Will you go and watch that one?
I'll definitely watch it after this session.
Good,
I haven't.
Good. And will you like it as well, Abdul? And subscribe to my channel.
I'll like it and I'll subscribe.
And you'll write a nice comment. You'll say, this is my e-tutor, Prinavin and Arthur. Okay.
And I'll follow you on YouTube.
Yes, please follow me on YouTube, right? I've got lots of videos in there, lots and lots of videos. But this Zoom session, it actually helps you in that you and I are talking. It's a synchronous mode, right? So that's why I have it. There's it out here. Here's the full list. Just excuse my dogs, Dave. Someone's at the gate, right? There's it, Fun with Functions with Monet, Kitso, and Marianne. Marianne was there as well 2 weeks ago, Marianne. Right.
And then last but not least, sir, in terms of the structure of the exam for course 1511 and course 1512, is there any difference?
Okay, I can't answer 1512, but I can tell you about 1511. This is the last year's paper. A good indication of what's going to happen in 2023 is what happened in 2022, as well as what happened in February of 2023, right? But if you notice, they have question 1, they are testing you on tracing of a program, finding out what happens, what's the output of a program, right? Question 1.2, the switch statement. And I'm telling you now, Abdul is coming out again. There's the while statement in 1.3. The while statement must come out again. And I promise you that. I can take a bet with you. Again, they are asking you what's happening in the program, the tracing of the program, what's the output of the program. There's the while statement again, right? We're tracing the program. Can you see there, they talk about a variable diagram. Let's look at what they expect you in this program. In question 4, ma'am was testing you on Calculate displaying amount of money. Oh, I can tell you, maximum, minimum, total, average. One of them must come out. I can tell you that. I have been doing it for so long, so many years, right? In some form or the other. There we go. There's a switch statement repeated in question 5. Switch statement repeated in question 5. The while statement repeated in question 6. Can you see how many times it appeared, right? There's your functions that you're talking about. Functions must appear. I can tell you that, Abdul. Functions, definite question, definite question, right? Functions. Then we haven't come to this as yet, but you're going to be using structs. They'll talk about structs. That also appears in the paper, but in this paper, ma'am did not test you on it. Oh, the arrays. Arrays is another one. We'll come to that, right? Arrays, one-dimensional, two-dimensional arrays. So you must remember, in an exam, they have to test you on a little bit of everything. You have to cover all the lessons, except the last one. They don't, the one about classes, because that's tested in 1512. Okay?
Okay, sir. So when it comes to arrays, will we also be tested on how to look through the arrays?
Yes, you will. Now, an array, again, you jump in the gun. I know you want to see how much I know and all of that. An array requires the use of a loop, a for loop. So if you don't understand the concepts of the for loop, you're going to find it difficult to work with an array. So that's why you better come for next week's lesson, where I'll talk about the for loop, how we have a starting point, an ending point, and how it runs through the loop. I touched on that last week as well, and I'll continue touching on it throughout the Zoom sessions. Okay? Abdul, you're going to come next week?
Definitely, sir. Why wouldn't I?
Thank you. I don't know.
If you want me to come.
No. Please come. If you don't come, then then I'm talking to myself over here. My wife thinks I'm talking to the screen. So please come, right? So please do come.
And it's a date, so it's a date.
Lovely. Cancel all your, your sporting, your soccer, your going out for lunch, and all of that, right? Yeah, there's a nice one. Go and watch this one here. Fun with functions. Right? Please watch Fun with Functions. 57. Hey, I got 300 views 1 month ago. Wow. Look at the for loop. There's a for loop I'm going to talk about. I spoke about 376 views. Am I famous or what? Abdul, check it out. 730 views. Okay. Cool.
I'm doing that right now. So
excellent.
Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome. Abdul, for homework, I want you to do this while loop. While you understand the concept of a while loop, and I spoke about all the characteristics, you do this now. Right? You do this, you check it out, because you're going to take the exam one small bite at a time, one question at a time. That's how you'll do this, right? Like you're taking a journey to Joburg. Or where are you living, Abdul?
Joburg.
Joburg, yeah. I'll have to take it one step at a time, one kilometer at a time. Then 600 kilometers later, I'll end up in Joburg with Abdul. Right. Thank you for your question, Abdul. I hope I answered it, and I hope I'll make sure that you come back for more. Right.
I'm coming back for more.
Yeah, like see, Marianne is here every week. I don't think Marianne missed a Zoom lesson, and one day I was a bit delayed as well with load shedding on that Marianne, but she waited. So thank you, Marianne.
Marianne can be our madam speaker, sir. What you think?
Of course she can. Right? And Charlton can be the what's the opposite of madam speaker? Okay. Right.
The stadium speaker. The stadium speaker.
Okay.
The speaker.
Great. Okay. If there's no more questions, in fact, I should have stopped the recording, because all of that will be recorded on YouTube, right?
Awesome.
Okay. All right. If there's no more questions, homework, please go over October 2022, the question on the while loop, because today we covered it, and you can copy and paste it into code blocks to see how it runs and works, and it won't take you long. Just do it a little bit at a time. And if you can, go to my group 1E, the quizzes that I have. It's a few seconds of your time, but it's a fun way of learning and keeping you in touch with programming. Because you can't put your programming exercises away now that you finish assignment 2 and you say, oh, I'll only open my book up again just before the assignment. It doesn't work. This week, there were so many students that were stressing because they thought they could do the programming assignment in 1 day or 2 days time. You can't do programming like that. Programming doesn't work like that, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. All right. If there's no more questions, let me stop the recording. So recording stopped. Let's stop the recording.